Kung Fu Kenny, welcome to the Running Effect podcast. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, and let's get this started.
Let's get this started. Let's go back in time, and then we can talk about some present day subjects because I think a lot of people see your success on the world stage, on the global stage, but they don't know all that came before it. I want to talk about May 17th, 2019. Do you remember that day,
Was
or do
that
I need to fill it out?
that was junior? That was junior college nationals.
You were junior college, freshman year. You ran for Indian Hills Community College. This was something I didn't know, so I feel like a lot of other people wouldn't know about. Crazy conditions. You end up running the fourth fastest 200 meters of all time under any
Oh
conditions
yeah, yeah, yeah.
as a freshman.
1949. Yeah.
What was that day like?
That day was just crazy because as you seen that the wind was like 6 point something. Um, but I remember seeing you probably know Terrence Laird. He ended up running like a 19.6 or something like that. And I was like, oh dang, like if he's running that, I gotta go and run something crazy. So my when I was younger, I was just more competitive. I was like, okay, I gotta be the top dog. And I was like, yeah, let me throw a hot time down in. That's what I did. So uh, yeah, just that whole day, very windy, um, and yeah, I just wanted to show everybody that I can run something fast like that, regardless of the wind or not. And when I got it, I was happy and excited, but I also kind of like, well, it doesn't really count. So I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's cool to do that, but I want to make sure that it's win legal next time.
I think a lot of people who see the results and success of someone like you would either assume you went pro out of high school or you went to a massive school with a ton of resources like Oregon. You won a national title and then signed out of college. For you,
Hmm.
that was far from the case. You ran in high school, then you went to junior college, as I mentioned, Indian Hills Community College in Iowa, and then you ultimately ended up going pro. But could you speak to that part of your journey that I feel like a lot of people don't know about of going to junior college and how those years formed you and equipped you to be in the spot you're
Um,
at now?
Initially, when I had all the schools that wanted to recruit me, Oregon, Washington, like all of them, the track programs all wanted me. And, I was for it. And just my first 2 years of high school, I just fooled around too much, only cared about sports, wanted to hang out with my friends. So I didn't really study or do my homework. And it was kind of a wake up call when all those schools were like, well, what's your GPA? And I'm like, oh, shoot, like that stuff actually matters. So, I did the best I could, did a lot of summer school classes, and, it just wasn't enough for me to go that route. And initially, I was embarrassed just because there's that notion where, you go to junior college, you're, a failed athlete or you're not smart or something like that. So initially I was like, oh dang, like I kind of fitting that narrative that everybody has of it. And once I actually got there, then I kind of just embraced it. And I was like, I'm here now, and there's nothing I can do about it. But and I can, just take it day by day, do what I need to do in school, and just grind and get out of here as soon as possible. And just that 1 year being in junior college, I mean, I met a lot of great people, and I just had a lot of fun. Just the camaraderie we had. Indian Hills track program was pretty much new, and that's one of the main reasons why I decided to go that route is just because I just like the thought of like, hey, like I can grow and you can grow at the same time, so let's just build something together. And I got there, like I said, grinded it out. You got drama every now and then that kind of comes through, and I made it happen. And I remember my teammate now, who is Kyrie King, he was saying, I think I first met him in Drake Relays, and he still had his connections with University of Oregon, and he was like, "Hey, no, I remember talking to Seth, who's one of the coaches that was there at one point, and he kept telling Kyrie like, hey, when you meet this kid, just you know, talk to him, try to make sure he comes our route and all that." And as soon as I kind of ran a fast time on them, he was like, "Bro, like, there's no reason for you to go that route." He's like, "Go pro," and I was like, "Oh, you think I should?" He's like, "Yeah." But then once I went to the junior college nationals, I mean, my mindset was still like, okay, get out of here, go to a 4 year. And once I hit the 19.4 and then the 19.8 and then the 44.7, that kind of just solidified my decision on going pro. It was just at the point where it's like, yeah, we're fast now. What's the point of going to a 4 year program? Go to a league coach that can maintain it, and let's see what happens. And I mean, I believe that was just the best decision that I've ever made. Initially, I thought I made a mistake, but how my career has been so far, I say it's pretty solid. And yeah, like I'm just having a lot of fun.
One of my favorite quotes of all time is you can't control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. I feel like you've embodied that in your career thus far. Can you take me through how that quote relates to that 1 year in junior college, as well as all the way up to today, whether you experience an injury or a setback?
Like I said, just going the whole junior college route. I mean, I would say my whole life has kind of been like that. Me and my brother getting adopted, having the mom that we have today. Um, growing up with just a single parent, and she did the best she could do, and we turned out all right. And then just kind of the same thing with the whole high school. Um, just the weather in Wisconsin is not really track appropriate, I would say. Once it snows, the snow never wants to really go away. So for me to be able to run, a 20.4 when I was in high school, and be one of the fastest kids in the nation coming out of Wisconsin was a big deal. And then kind of what I did in junior college as well was a big deal as well. It's just the route I've taken hasn't been, the route most people would take and succeed. And those are the cards I was dealt with, and I just said, hey, I'm just gonna take it and just ride with it. And same thing with just being a pro. After JUCO, I had an injury at the trials, and I was in great shape, but the season was long, and for all of us, just trying to maintain a peak for a long period of time is very very strenuous on the body, and then something had to give. And for me, my that was my first injury as a track athlete, and I always had pride where I was like, okay, I will never get hurt, this and that. But then once you get faster and get to a certain level, those are going to be more frequent. And yeah, as soon as that happened, I was like devastated, like, oh man, how did this happen? Why did it happen now? And I was just lucky just to find the right people. My girlfriend, we ended up finding each other in 2020, and we basically strengthened my weaknesses and just got back kicking and started trying to be the best in the world. And then, yeah, as you probably already know, that I had another incident with dropping something on my toe, so I fractured my toe, and I had to take 2 months out in the year 2022. And that was kind of another year where it's like, hey, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna do my best to make sure I get back on the podium and be ready. And I think for me, that was my hardest year so far in my career, just because I had to take so much time off and just to be able to be on the podium, getting second. I wasn't satisfied, and I was kind of a little ticked off because I was like, man, I don't like losing. But then I had to just think about like where were we, 3 months ago? Where were we 2 months ago? We weren't running like this at all. So I gotta be happy with how I got here, and just build off of it for the next year. So, and the year after that, just another injury. First time I didn't make the podium, and I just I never wanted to feel that feeling again, and I just lit a fire under me even more, just to kind of come back stronger this year and dominate. And that's what I've always been about, is just coming out, competing, and trying to be the best. I mean, when it's all said and done, I want to be the best to ever do it, and I believe that I have the capabilities of doing that. I just gotta make sure to just do everything on point, and you know, track and field is all about progression, and if every single year I can get 1% better, then I'll be able to reach my goals.
Kenny, let's go back in time to those years in Wisconsin. Take me through your start in the sport of track and field. How were you introduced to it, and what were your first impressions of the sport?
Well, I wasn't introduced to track in Wisconsin. I was actually introduced into it when I was in Oklahoma. So I started in first, second grade, and I just I just loved the run. I mean, I had ADHD, so I couldn't sit still. So I always like just to run around, jump over fences, stuff like that. That's something I also did in middle school when I was in Wisconsin. In middle school, I used to jump over tables, or so several of the teachers caught me just trying to be athletic for no reason. But yeah, just the moment I stepped on the track, I think that's where I've always felt the freest, and I think that's why I love the sport. Is I'm free, just the competitive nature in me as well, just wanting to be able to break my PBs every single time I step on the track, and yeah, just having that toe to toe, head to head matchup against the whole world. I mean, but yeah, just being in Wisconsin, where I think I came into my freshman year. I knew I was fast. I was always like the fastest kid in my class, but I think my coach Saseda, he's the one that really kind of pushed me to actually be the best in the state and in the state into, the country. I think that year I was a little cocky, like not like cocky like talking crap, but more so like, oh, I know what I'm doing kind of thing, so I don't need to really listen to coach to a T. And I took a few losses that I didn't expect, and he was like, "Well, you were a little cocky. Like I told you to do something, you kind of did the opposite." I was like, "Yeah, you're right." So then after that, he ended up taking me to junior college, and I think it was we went to Jacksonville, Florida. I think that was the first time I went, and that was I think that kind of helped solidified who I wanted to be when it came to the sport because I got my butt whooped. I was so used to winning all the time, and then once I went there and got my butt whooped, it was kind of like, okay, I'm not the best, and I want to be the best. So what can I do to become better? And after that, yeah, just junior college. No, not junior college. After that, we went to, the next year, and that's when I started winning a lot more. Being a better athlete, being a better competitor, and I think yeah, my sophomore year was pretty good. Then my junior year is when I hit 46.19, and then senior year is when I hit another 46, and then 20.4. So, Jared Saseda was my first high school coach that really helped push me to become the athlete I am today, and then also the other high school coach, Tebow, he kind of helped me as well just to maintain my form and everything and get the job done. But yeah, just without those people and also my mom, being my number one fan, I wouldn't have been able to excel as much as I did in high school.
So, talking about your twin brother Ian, what was that like growing up? Was there a competitive nature between the two of you, or were you guys interested in separate things?
Me and Ian have always kind of been opposites. I'm more the quiet guy that did the bare minimum in high school. He was loudmouth. No, I wouldn't say loudmouth. He was just very more talkative. I was introverted, he was extroverted. I'm taller, more athletic. He was shorter, as not as athletic, but still athletic. But we did both do cross country together for a while. So that's where we were more competitive with each other. Um, but then after that, once the mileage kind of went up when I got into middle school, I decided to just go more with football. I was like, this long distance life ain't for me anymore. Um, and he just decided to just stick with cross country and track. So we weren't really as competitive with each other because he was more in the long distance and I was in the short sprints. And then he was a grade above me as well. So we weren't really, competing against each other all the time. But yeah, we've always kind of been like that, polar opposites. You see us together, you would be like, "There's no way you guys are twins." I mean, first of all, we got our height and then our looks. But yeah, we're twins. So
So, cross country back in the day, I did not know that. I have to ask you, present day Kenny, one of the fastest guys in the world, aiming to be the fastest. I'm curious, you line up on the track for a mile, how fast are you running? Like peak sprint shape, how fast could you run a mile?
well, I don't know because I haven't done it, but me and my teammate, we did a bet. I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I came to practice once and they were talking to my other teammates, and I was like, "Oh, what's going on?" And they're like, "Well, they're seeing if we can run a 5 minute mile." And this is me just waking up without stretching or anything. And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'm in. Let me do it." And we ran under what? We ran under six. So we ran like 5:55, I think. If I'm not, yeah, 5:55. And when I was younger, like I ran that when I was actually running it. So it was like obviously there was no improvement from now. But I was like, well, this is earlier in the year. I just came out of bed, didn't even stretch or anything. So running that, I actually take that. So I think at my fastest right now, maybe like 5:30.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's
So
big
I'd say
debate
it's
on the
decent.
internet. There's big debate on the internet about LeBron being able to break five. After you not being able to break five, do you think LeBron would have
Oh,
any chance? I say
no,
no.
no,
I say no.
no, just that conditioning is just different. I mean, you got basketball where you're like back and forth, and I mean that's tough with me as well. But no, I don't think he'd be able to do that. I mean, he had to start out young too, just in order to even get to that position. That's crazy. I didn't even hear that. That's who started that.
Oh man, I'll have to send you stuff after. There's like whole debates I've heard on the internet, but also on runs of people saying like some people think LeBron could break 5, and then I think the people who actually know what they're talking about are like, absolutely no way.
Yeah, no
So
way. I don't believe
I,
that. Yeah, I mean, if he did, he's definitely a freak athlete.
I just think it's very difficult when you reach like a level of like height and weight that you're just carrying around, makes it
Hmm.
incredibly difficult to run
Yeah, yeah, for
at
sure.
that
I mean,
pace.
what is he? He's like, how tall is he? Like 6'7"? I mean, 6'6".
Yeah, something like that. Six
And
seven,
he's like
6'8".
200 and something, 200 like 40 plus pounds. Yeah, that's just a lot of weight. Like, as you already know, when you're running long distance, most of those people's the body type is going to be very thin and skinny.
So I'm looking up on Google right now. There are multiple Reddit threads about could LeBron James run a sub 5 minute mile, and then
Yeah,
there
that's
was also
crazy.
there's also a media outlet in track and field that said, "Here's my answer: LeBron James could run at least a 440 miler." I
That's
call massive
crazy.
cap on that.
Yeah, that's
There's no way.
crazy. That's people that don't really understand exactly what you have to do in order to even get to that shape. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's not happening. That's crazy.
Maybe in another lifetime where he dedicates himself to running, but
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
also the difference, like I'm a distance runner, and the difference
Hmm.
between even a 459 and a 440 is drastically different.
Oh yeah, for
um
sure.
so 440, that I don't know what they're
Honestly,
smoking.
with me going to meets and just seeing how these guys warm up and all that, I'm just like, dang, like they're taking like 10 laps it seems already just warming up, and then they gotta run a whole mile. Like I don't know how they do that, but yeah, just a lot of conditioning. I feel like. You said you're a long distance runner, so you could tell me.
Yeah, like Jakob Ingebrigtsen, I think he's like the best 15 5K runner in the world over the years. His warm up
Hmm.
is at least like 3 miles for his
Yeah,
race for the 15.
that that's insane.
um So
Oof.
yeah, they're built different. They're built different. Something I also want to talk about is you also played football in high school, which you briefly
Yeah,
mentioned at Rice Lake, and you actually scored 17 touchdowns as a wide receiver, kick returner, and on jet sweeps during your junior and senior years. I don't know. A lot of debates these days, NFL versus track guys. Would you have had a future in the NFL if you kept at it? Those are some impressive stats.
I feel like with my worth ethic, I definitely did because I mean, honestly, that was something that I wanted to pursue. I mean, I love track, but when I was younger, I was also like, oh, I dream about being in the NFL one day. Um, but once I got a little older, it was like, okay, what's more important? I was more worried about my physical health when I kept getting tackled. People were going gunning for my legs, so I'm like, okay, like I think I know if I'm thinking about this during the game, I think I know what route I need to take. But yeah, for sure, I feel like if I stuck with football, I would have had an opportunity of trying to be in the NFL. I mean, first of all, I got speed. The only thing that I really needed to work on was everything else, agility, hands, and then just running the route tree. And that's something that I definitely would have been able to improve on. I mean, hands is not really an issue anymore. I did it when I was my freshman year. Like that was my worst time where my hands, I kept having the butter fingers. But then sophomore, junior, senior, my hands were good. But it's more so about learning the route tree and everything else. But that's definitely something I want to pursue. And sometimes I joke around with my coach and my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, maybe when I turn 30, I can go to the league because I'll still be fast. Um, but yeah, that's something I've always loved football. I just love the camaraderie, the locker room atmosphere, and just having everybody come together from all different backgrounds to achieve one goal. Um, so yeah, I definitely think I would have a chance.
From one of the greatest to ever do it in the 200, I want to hear it from yourself. What's the difference between track speed and football speed, or is there not too much of a difference?
No,
Let's
there's a
settle this
huge
debate.
difference. I mean, football is I feel like it's more like explosive, quick cuts and all that. But track speed, it's like, explosive, also having that finesse and just maintaining that speed longer. So, huge difference. Football players are more explosive and they don't have the capabilities of maintaining that speed and makes sense just because, you're going like 5 routes, 10 routes, 20 routes, making cuts here, left and right. Um, and then for us, we're explosive to begin with. Our acceleration is faster and better, and then uh, we know how to maintain that speed for a longer period of time. And I mean, that's what track and field is. It's, it's not usually like, hey, this person is faster than the other. It's more so this person is capable of maintaining that speed longer than others. And yeah, yeah. This has been a debate for what, years. So I want to kind of stop talking about it and just have a bunch of us line up against them just to kind of show exactly what the difference is. Um, there's a few people that might be pretty much good starters out there, but then once we get past those 30 to 40 meters, then it's they're done for.
Whether it's in relation to that subject or other things, you are, at least from an outsider's perspective, one of the most like humble guys who's just like, I'm going to take care of my business on the track, let my running talk for itself and not say anything else. Where does that humility come from in a discipline where it seems like everyone these days is, trying to make it on the news or trying to be quoted or trying to gain that extra clout by
um,
saying something controversial?
I've always just been about, hey, if I do good things and just grind it out, I mean, I'm gonna have people do the talking for me. So it's also just because being raised by my mother, and then just being in the Midwest. I mean, I've always just been like that. Just come out, get the job done, and on to the next. And I mean, that's pretty much why. I mean, there's no reason for me. I know I'm one of the best in the world, and I don't need to say that I am. Like I said, I'll have other people do it for me, and I just don't like unnecessary, I guess, attention. I mean, it's cool and all, but I also love my privacy, so that's why I've kind of always been like that. Um, just more. I just want to be more down to earth, humble, and just have a chill and good life.
Sounds like you were raised quite well, and you've talked about your mom multiple times. Let's give her a moment, give her her flowers. Can you talk about her support and how it's really propelled you to where you're at today?
I mean, yeah, my mom is my number one fan. If it wasn't for her, I mean, I wouldn't even be here. Like, there wouldn't be a Kung Fu Kenny. Um, but yeah, just honestly, just to be able to have her support me my whole life and my whole career, it's meant a lot. And I was so happy just to be able to have her go out to Paris and actually see me shine on the brightest stage. I mean, a lot of meets here in the states, and then a lot of meets overseas. And I haven't been able to get her to go to every single one just because the travel and the cost has been a little bit too hectic sometimes. But for the Olympics, it's like, okay, I don't care how much. We need to get my mom out there and just have that moment together. And yeah, just she's a trooper. I mean, just to be able to adopt four kids and raise them all by themselves, and have me and my brother and sisters, turn out all right and do what we love. And yeah, just I give her the best mom in the world title.
Going back in time to 2019 World Championships, you were a semifinalist in the 200, and then the 2020 Olympic Games ultimately happened in 2021. You ended up winning silver in the 200. Take me through that race, and I mean, it seems like since that race in Tokyo, your career's just been up from there. I know you've had setbacks occasionally, but like you
Mhm.
look at the list of accolades since then, it's like you're doing something crazy every single time you step on the track. What did that race do for you and your confidence?
I mean, when I kind of came into the Tokyo year, I was more still just learning how to be a professional, and I ended up changing my whole diet a couple months before we even got to the trials and then the Olympics. And it was all just learning experiences. I mean, I was just there having fun, and it helped push me become the athlete I am today. Um, I ended up finding my girlfriend Charmila, and she helped me find the right people when it comes to recovery, diet, and everything else. When I was in college, I just ate like trash. Like, I would have hot Cheetos and Skittles, and I would have a bunch of other things like just junk like candy or something like that before a race. And I run fast, but I didn't understand like, hey, all these things matter. Like, if you're 1% healthier than your competitors, and you're gonna beat them. Or if you're you know if you're sleeping 7 hours a day, that's not gonna cut it when you want to be an Olympian. And yeah, just going to Tokyo, getting silver, I was happy, but I was also like, well, I know my capabilities. I know I'm capable of winning, and I'm capable of being the best. So, I was happy for Andre because I know his story, and I was like, okay, the next one's mine. But after that, it was just like I said, just being a better professional for me. It's just like I said, making sure that I have 8 to 9 hours of sleep every single day, making sure that I don't have gluten because that's something that I had to change within my diet. And I don't know how it happened, but just over time, my body just started rejecting gluten. So my body just got inflamed, so my stomach felt bloated and everything else. And my physio ended up explaining to me, like, if you're trying to maximize everything when you're in a race and your body's dealing with something like inflammatory in your stomach, your body's not gonna be able to give that 100% to what you're trying to accomplish. So you'll be 90 or 80% actually. You'll be like 80% ready, and the other 20% is going to be working on something that's trying to repair. So I was like, okay, so I had to like clear house everything in my kitchen, and I think that was just the biggest change for me as an athlete, just changing the diet completely. Because it's honestly harder to eat cleaner. You know how it is with you want organic, you want everything that's not tampered with or have steroids in it when it comes to the food industry, and everything is just so much more expensive if you want to live that healthy lifestyle. But for me, it's like, okay, this my body is the investment. If I can make sure that everything is clean and stay healthy, then the money's going to come, and all of that won't be an issue. Um, but yeah, just those are the changes I've made over the past few years. Also doing meditation, doing some breath work. Um, and there's a lot of other things. Like I have like 20 people on my team that I use every day. Um, but yeah, just from then to now, it's just always trying to find ways to stay healthy, to be better, to be 1% better every single day. And that's what's helped me in my career so far. And even with coming back from injuries, I feel like when I broke my toe or pulled my hamstring, I know most athletes are not capable of coming back in time in order to uh, do something at least worthy of getting a medal, but I have been, and that's just because of what I've been doing outside. I've invested so much in my body, and that's what we need to do. Like that's the thing that's going to make us the money.
You're Let's talk about the most recent Olympic Games, silver in the 200. I feel like you've probably had enough time to reflect on it at this point. What are
Yeah,
the
yeah.
reflections from it, like 10 to 14 days removed from it?
Uh, I mean, I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. Like I said, I know that I'm capable of winning. Um, I want to say Tobago running the time that he ran was a surprise because I've seen it. I've seen him run a 1950 before. Um, so he just ran a hell of a race. He's done. He's had a lot to deal with this year. His mother passing away, so he was running for his mom out there. Like his why was bigger than mine this year, and like I said, like it is what it is. I'm happy and honored to represent Wisconsin and just the U.S. and be able to show my talents to the world. But yeah, just coming back, looking at it, not satisfied. I mean, like I said, I want to be the best to ever do it, and we're not there yet. So there's just a lot that I learned, and next year and in the next 4 years, I plan on having a dominant streak.
World Championships next year in Tokyo. Back to the place where you ultimately got your first Olympic medal. What's the energy and ambition going into 2025 after some of the lessons you've learned in 2024?
I'm excited. World Champs is going to be at the end of the year. That's going to be a little bit different. So the way that we're going to have to peak is going to be a little bit different. Um, but yeah, I'm excited. I mean, the trip to Tokyo is going to be long. I think it's like 20 something hours. So I'm going to dread that flight. But going into next year, I got a few goals that I want to accomplish, and I'm feeling very confident. I mean, I would say this year is a year where I was pretty much injury free, and the last time I had a year like that was in 2021. So just to be able to build off of this, I'm expecting like very big things, especially in the 100 as well, because being in the finals with that was a learning experience in itself, and I know what it takes. Like it doesn't matter what people have done all year. As soon as you step on the track, they can throw a fast time here or there. Um, so I just feel like next year I'm just going to be more prepared, and yeah, I'm going to show the world something.
Reading off a few of these accolades, you're a 9-time Diamond League winner. You're the 2021 Diamond League champion. You're a world champion silver medalist. You're a 2-time Olympic silver medalist, a 2-time Olympian, and you're the current world number one in the 200. A lot of kids listen to this podcast, people in high school, college, who aspire to be at your point one day. As you reflect on your career and habits, what are some attributes you embody that you feel like have helped you get to this point, get all those titles, all those medals, all of that success?
For me, I think it's just making sure to just be disciplined. I mean, that's the number one thing. If you want to accomplish these goals, or if I want to accomplish the goals that I have, I gotta make sure to be disciplined with everything, and just listening to my coaches as well. Sometimes you athletes might think they know it all, but they don't. And when your coach says, "Hey, this is what this person is gonna do," when he gets to this certain point of the race, you're like, "Okay, like you have to expect it because your coach has been studying film with every other athlete that you're going to be competing against." So listening to your coaches, being disciplined, um, that's those are the main core things. I mean, you can be humble, but you can also not be humble. That kind of varies on the person. But for me, being humble, disciplined, and just listening to my coaches is just helped me out the most in my career, because without that, we wouldn't have that foundation to build off of. And yeah, just also having just the right people around you also helps as well. If you're straying away from your goals, or from the process or the progress, you need people around you that will tell you like, "Hey, this is not what we do. You need to get back on that train, and go back to the right path." So yeah, I mean, those things have just helped me out the most in my career, because without it, I don't know where I would be. I'd probably still be hurt, or struggling. But yeah, just having the right support team and everything has helped me out the most.
What are some parts of your journey that have led up to this point now that I'm talking to you that you feel like most people don't know about that were crucial pieces of your journey and story?
I mean, honestly, like I said, I think the biggest thing for me is just the people that have been around me. If I would say for real, like if I didn't meet my girlfriend in 2020, I think that's when COVID started coming up. If I didn't meet her, I think we wouldn't be having this conversation. I don't think I would be who I am today. I mean, she is the biggest reason why I've been so successful. Um, just because she's a professional athlete as well. She's a professional golfer, and she knows what it takes because she's been on that level. And meeting her, it was kind of like, "Hey, I want to be an Olympian," and then she laughed in my face saying, "Well, you got to step it up." So I would say that just meeting her. I mean, I would say there's nothing really in particular that people don't know, but maybe they don't know this. But it's like without her, like I don't think there would be a Kung Fu Kenny. Um, just because she's, I would say 80-90% of the reason why I'm the professional athlete I am today. So I give a lot of my success to her. Um, and I thank her for. I mean, even now, like she's helping me out with a lot of things. So without her, like a lot of things wouldn't have worked. But other than that, like there's no other particular uh, scene that's happened. I mean, I feel like pretty much everybody knows my story, and there's nothing really hidden, I guess, that's really made an impact to make me become who I am today.
As you think to the end of your career, whenever that is, or your track career going into NFL, who knows? We'll see.
So yeah.
And when people hear the name Kenny Bednarek, what do you want them to think of? What do you want your legacy to be in the sport of track and
um,
field?
I just want to be. Well, first of all, I want to be known as the best to ever, do it, and I want to be known to inspire just the kids, inspire people that have come through the same route as me. Um, especially junior college kids, just to show them that, no matter how you start, you can, accomplish your goals. And, all the dreams that you have can be attainable if you just stay true to yourself and just be disciplined. I mean, that's pretty much been my whole story, just being disciplined. Without discipline, nothing's gonna work. So when I'm all said and done, I just want to be known for that. Um, and I mean, that's pretty much it. Just want to inspire the other athletes, other kids, and just kind of pave that way for the athletes after me.
Kenny, you've shared a ton of wisdom in this podcast. So if you want to reiterate on something you've said, totally fine. But for those who have listened to our conversation today, are inspired by you, the person you are, all that you've accomplished, and one day want to accomplish those things, or maybe even not in running, but in a separate sector, just want to be successful, what would be the final takeaway message that you want to leave with our audience today?
Uh, stay true to yourself, be humble, be disciplined, and you'll get the job done. That's all I can really say. Just have fun, but not too much fun.
I love it. Sweet, simple, straight to the point. Right on.
Yeah.
Kenny, final question for you. The question I ask every single guest on every single podcast. If you had Gordon Ramsay coming over to your house for dinner, what would you choose to make for him?
What I make for him? Oh my God.
Chef Kenny.
I would say steak, or yeah, I would give a medium rare steak, or what was the other thing that I made? Oh, I made some sweet potato soup. So medium rare steak or sweet potato soup, because that's the only two things I'm really confident in right now. I'm still trying to learn how to cook a lot more. But yeah, that'd be a big deal. I don't want to mess that up.
We'll have to make it happen. Gordon Ramsay, if your managers are listening, this could be a fun TV special for Gordon.
Oh yeah, for sure,
Kenny,
for sure.
Kenny, really appreciate the conversation, man. I told you this ahead of time, but really look up to you and all that you're accomplishing and all that you're going to accomplish.
No, I
Your
appreciate it.
impact is far off the track. You're inspiring a ton of people. So a true honor to sit down with you, have this conversation, glean insights and wisdom from you. Appreciate you making the time, and man, excited to see that gold medal around your neck
Oh
soon.
yeah, we finally
Next
need to
year
do
and
that.
years to come.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Believe in you, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, man.